Okay, relational model was introduced in 1970s by E.F. Codd, and the basic of relational data model is based on the concept of relations, which is a mathematical concept, but we can consider it as a matrix, or sometimes we also called a table, which consists of intersecting rows and columns. Each row in a relation or a table is called a tuple, and each column represent an attribute. Okay, so each row is a tuple and each column is a attribute in this table or a matrix. Okay, initially when a relational model was proposed, it was considered impractical in 1970s. Why? Because conceptually it was simple, but it required more computational power to implement that model in the computers. And at that time, like in 1970s, computer lacked the power to implement the relational model. But with the passage of time, computer power grows exponentially, and we have more efficient operating system. So the cost of computer also reduce a lot. So relational model are no more impractical now, but the most famous data model that is considered is relational data model. The relational data model is implemented through relational database management systems. So we call them RDBMS, which perform the same basic function that is provided by hierarchical and network DBMS. So it performs same functionality that is provided by hierarchical and network database management system. But in addition to that, the main advantage of a relational database management system is that they are more easier to understand and implement, plus it hides the complexity of relational model from the user. So RDBMS manage all the physical detail, while the user see the relational database just as a collection of table in which data is stored, and user can manipulate or query the data from the table very easily. Like here we have an example where we have two tables, or we will say each table is called a relation in relational data model. So we have a relation agent and relation customer, or table agent and table customer. Customer table is used to store all the information about customer, and agent table is used to store all the information about agent. Now these both tables are related to each other through the sharing of a common attribute, and if you see, the common attribute between both these tables is agent code. Agent code is there in the table agent as well as there in the customer. So if I want to see who is the agent of customer Smith Kathy, we can find it out easily. Like Smith Kathy agent number is 502. So we will map this 502 over here in the agent table, and we will come to know that Hon Lee is the agent of Smith Kathy. Although both table, customer table and agent table, are independent of one another, but at the same time we can easily associate the data between tables. So relational model provide a minimum level of control redundancy. There is redundancy, like agent code is present in agent table as well as over here in the customer table. So there is a minimum level of control redundancy in relational data model to eliminate most of the redundancy that are commonly found in file system. In this figure we have a relational diagram. So what is a relational diagram? It is a representation of relational database entities. Okay, like we have a entity agent, we have a entity customer. So this relational diagram is a representation of relational database entities and the attribute within those entries and the relationship between those entities. So we have a entity agent with attributes like agent code, last name, first name, and so on. Similarly, we have a agent customer with attribute customer code, customer last name, first name, initial, and so on. And then a relationship between agent and customer, which is what here we write one, and this symbol, infinity symbol, represent many. This diagram is from Microsoft Access. So Microsoft Access use this infinity symbol to indicate many side. So it is showing that one agent have many customer and each customer has one agent. From an end user perspective, any SQL based relational database application have three parts, that is user interface, and a collection of tables stored in the database, and SQL engine. So what is the end user interface? This is the interface which allow your end user to communicate or interact with the data. So this interface is provided by the application programmer for you, so that end user can interact with the data. Then we have a set of table that is stored in the database. So in a relational database, all data are perceived to be stored in table. So the table simply present the data to the end user in a way that is easy to understand. And each table is independent, and row in different tables are related by common values in common attribute. And then we have a SQL engine which is basically hidden from the end user. So what is the purpose of SQL engine? SQL engine execute all the queries that end user write through end user interface. So these queries are run by SQL engine on the table that are stored in the database and send the requested information back to the end user. We have seen that relational model was much better than the hierarchical and network model, but it still lacked the feature that would make it an effective database design tool. Why? Because it is easier to look at the structure of the database graphically than to describe it in text form. So database designer prefer to use graphical tool in which entities and their relationships are pictured. So thus ER model or entity relationship model has become widely accepted standard for data modeling. It was introduced in 1976 by Peter Chen, and in entity relational model or ER model, we present entities and their relationship through a graphical form, and it become very popular. And it does not replace relational model, but ER model complemented the relational model. So like ER model are used to draw the relational diagram, and then actual implementation of this ER diagram is done through relational model. So ER model is like a complemented feature or add some more features in the relational model by giving graphical representation of entities and relationships in a database structure. So in ER model we have to identify entities and relationship. So we draw them like in a graphical form, and each entity is mapped to a relational table. Like as I told you, ER model work with relational model. ER model just give you a graphical representation, and then after this graphical representation the entities are mapped to relations. What is a relation in relational table? It's a relation over there. Okay, so each entity is mapped to a table. Now in the table, each row of the table is called entity instance or occurrence. Entity occurrence or entity instance. Okay, this term is used to represent a row in the table. And entity set is what? Is a collection of the like entities. So a collection of like entity is called entity set. Like we have a agent file where we have three different agents over here, like here. Yes, here look, we have a agent table. Okay, each row of this table is called entity instance, okay, or entity occurrence. Row 1 is first entity occurrence, row 2 is second entity instance or entity occurrence, row 3 is the third entity instance or entity occurrence, and the collection of all these rows is called entity set. So agent, overall this is a entity set. Agent is one entity set, customer is another entity set. Okay, we have relationships. Now how we represent relationships are represented using chain notation. Okay, here we can show. Okay, this is how your ER model look like, and we represent ER model notation using three different notations: chain notation, crow's foot notation, and UML notation. Okay, now in chain notation, like here, entities are written inside a rectangular box, and we write entity always as a capital, all caps, and singular. We will not write painters, we will write painter. Okay, we will not write paintings, we will write in a singular form, painting, and all caps letter. So entities are written inside a rectangular box, and relationship is written inside this diamond box. So painter, paint, painting, and this 1 and M, this is showing the relationship one side and many side, 1 to M relationship. Okay, this is Chang notation. Here another example of many to many. So many to many can be either represented as M to N or M to M and 1 to 1. So this is how Chang notation is used to draw ER diagram. Then the second example is crowfoot notation. In crowfoot notation we have here a entity. Okay, painter is a entity and painting is a entity. It is represented in a different way than the chain notation. And then relationship is written on this line. There is no diamond, over here. Instead of diamond shape we write what? Relationship on the line, that is paints. And then why it is called crow's foot notation? If you see over here on the painting side, this symbol is like a crow foot. Okay, this symbol is representing what? Many. This is one is represented with two straight line, and many is represented with this form, crow foot like notation. Okay, so many to many, so this is many symbol. Okay, 1 to 1, two straight lines. Okay, third type of notation that is used in ER model is called UML notation, where we write entities in this form. Okay, and on this straight line connected to the other entity, show the relationship between these two entities. Relationship is through connecting entities with a line. And then we write over here, if you can see, paints and painted by. Okay, painting is painted by painter and painter paints painting. So both side relationships we write over here. And 1 to 1, 1 to many is written like this, 1 like this, and many 1 dash dash asterisk. This is many to many, and this is again 1 to 1. So these are three different notations that are used in ER model. In this book we follow crow's foot notation. Okay, then comes object oriented model. In object oriented data models, both data and their relationships are contained in a single structure known as object. Like previously in ER model and relational data model, we see that we have entities separate, then entities have attributes separate, and then we have relationships among them, and constraint. So many different things we saw. But in case of object oriented model, we use a single structure that is called a object, which not only contain attributes but also operation on it, or we can say relationships are also inside this object. So what are function available that are also described inside the object. And object oriented data model give us the basis for object oriented data management system. Like relational data models have RDBMS, relational database management system. Object oriented data model is the basis for OODBMS. Okay. So objects are not like entity, because object not only include information about relationship between the facts within the object, as well as information about its relationship with other objects. So we can say that OODM is said to be a semantic data model. What it means by semantic? Semantic mean or indicate meanings. So as I told you, object contain all operations that can be performed on it, such as changing the data value, finding specific data value, or printing data value. So because object include data plus various type of relationship and operational procedure, so the object become self-contained. Or we can say, in object oriented data model, object is the basic building block for autonomous structure, or it is a abstraction of real world entity. So we can say that an object may be considered equivalent to an ER model entity, but more precisely, an object represent only one occurrence of an entity, single occurrence of an entity. Along with the operation in the objects, object also have attributes, which are the characteristics or properties of the object. And then objects which share similar characteristics are grouped in a same class. Okay, so classes are organized in a hierarchical manner. In relational model we have entity sets. In object oriented model we have classes, but class is different from entity set in that it contains a set of procedure known as methods. So a class has a method which represent a real world action, some procedure, like such as find a selected person name, or changing a person name, or printing a person address. Like in traditional programming, we can say that these methods are what? Function or procedure that you write, like in C++. It's a object oriented programming language, and it support classes, it support procedures or functions. As classes are organized in a class hierarchy, so class hierarchy is like upside down tree in which each class has only one parent. Like customer class and the employee class share a parent, like a person. Person can be a customer, person can be a employee. Or we can say in another way, like we have a main class person, and then we have student and faculty. So student inherit from person, faculty inherit from person. So both have parent class person. So they share the same attribute that has a person, plus faculty will have its own attribute, student class will have its own some attribute which are different from faculty. But both student and faculty will share all the attribute of class person from which it inherit these attributes. And object oriented data models are typically represented using UML or unified modeling language class diagram. So UML is a language based on object oriented concepts that represent a set of diagram and symbol that we can use to graphically model a system. Like here we have an example. This is a UML. This side we have ER model, and this we have UML class design. Okay, here we have show a relationship between customer and invoices. Like invoices are generated by the customer. Like here we know that invoices are generated by the customer, and each invoice has one or more line where each line represent a item that is purchased by the customer. Okay, so this is how we will represent in ER model. This is crow's foot notation. We have customer entity, invoice entity, and line entity. Customer and invoice have one-to-many relationship. Like each invoice is generated by one customer, and one customer okay, and each customer can generate many invoices, and each invoice has many products or line inside it which are purchased. Okay, again here we have one-to-many relationship between invoice and line entity. Okay, here on this side we represent it through object oriented approach. Okay, object representation of invoice. You can see that it include all related object within the same box, like customer and line. And then you can see here that beside customer we write 1, and beside line we represent M. So it shows that 1 beside customer, which show that each invoice is related to only one customer. Okay, and M beside line shows that each invoice contain many line. So inside here in one object we write all the entities together, invoice, customer, and line. And here these are the attributes that we use related to invoice, like invoice date, number, invoice ship date, and invoice total. If you look at the UML class diagram, we have 3 classes here. Like in ER model we have 3 entities, so here we have 3 classes, because we know that what is a class, we have discussed it previously. Like here object that share same characteristics are grouped under a class. So we have 3 classes here: customer, invoice, and line, and how they are connected with each other. You know, this we have seen here UML notation. They follow UML notation to show the relationship between customer, invoice, and line, because here we write here that invoice is customer generate invoice, and each invoices belong to a customer, and then invoice generate line, and line belongs to invoice. And how this is showing one-to-many and one-to-many. If you notice over here we write minimum 1 and maximum any number, steric mean any number. So it is possible that there is some customer who do not generate any invoice. 0 mean it is possible, like optional, a customer does not generate any invoice. Okay, extended relational data model. We already have a relational data model, but with the demand to support more complex data representation, the relational model main vendors then evolve this model further and create extended relational data model, or ERDM. So ERDM is an extension of relational data model. So it has all the feature of relational data model along with feature of object oriented data model. When you add some feature of object oriented data model in relational data model, it makes extended relational data model. Which feature of object oriented model are included in extended relational data model? Inheritance and encapsulation and classes concept. So these are added into the ERDM or we can say these object oriented features, when added to relational model, we come up with a new model called ERDM. With the use of a complex object, it received a boost with the internet revolution, because when internet become accessible for common people, and when business organization started using internet, then they realize its possibility to access, distribute and exchange their business information through internet. So this thing result in the widespread adoption of internet as a business communication tool. So within this environment, XML or extensible markup language emerge as the standard for efficient and effective exchange of structured, semi-structured and unstructured data. So XML support all three: structured, semi-structured and unstructured data. Unstructured data examples are word processing document, web pages, email and diagrams. So these are managed by XML. Although we already have a relational and object oriented database which address most of the current data processing need, but with the new internet era, when organizations started using internet as a communication tool for this business, then it emerged this XML as a standard protocol for data exchange between system and internet services. As we started using internet and computer to manage our data, so web data in the form of browsing pattern, purchasing histories, customer preference and social media data from different sources like Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn have make organization really difficult to manage all this data. A lot of data was coming to the company which it need to store and organize properly, and it become really difficult for IT manager to balance the need to manage this rapidly growing data with a limited budget. So the need to manage and leverage all these converging trends like rapid data growth, performance, scalability and lower cost, a new phenomena is being triggered called big data. Now what is a big data? Big data refers to a movement to find new and better way to manage a large amount of web generated data and drive business insight out of it, and at the same time providing high performance and scalability with a reasonable cost. We don't want to increase the cost, we want a good performance and scalability, and at the same time we want to manage this huge amount of data that is constantly generated through web. And conventional relational approach to manage data or the like relational data model may not be suitable to manage big data, because there are some challenges that are very specific to big data, like if we have a data coming from social media, it will not fit to the conventional relational structure of rows and columns. You cannot fit it like in that table form, so it would be difficult to manage it through a relational approach. We need a special data model to manage such type of data. Okay, in your everyday activity, like if you are going to search a product on Amazon, or send a message to your friend using WhatsApp, or watch a video on a YouTube, or search for something in a Google map, some direction to some place, what you are using? You are using NoSQL database. Now what is this NoSQL database? It is a new generation of database which is used to address the specific challenges of the big data era, and have the following characteristics. First is, It is not based on the relational model. That's why we giving it name relational model. We use SQL. So it is not based on relational model, hence the name is NoSQL. It supported distributed database architecture. You know, we have two type of database architecture: centralized and distributed. Centralized when all your database in a single location. Distributed So the main focus of it is on performance instead of transaction consistency. Okay, key value data model is based on a structure that consists of two elements, key and value, in which every key has a corresponding value or a set of value. So we can also say that key value data model is referred to as attribute and value. Like you have a key is a attribute, and then that attribute has some specific value. Like attribute is name, value is John, Janet, Jackson. Okay. Okay, NoSQL also support a large amount of sparse data. So NoSQL database can handle very high volume of data, which we call particularly sparse data. That is for case in which the number of attribute is very large, but the number of actual data instance is low. Some NoSQL database provide a feature that is called eventual consistency, which means that update to the database will propagate through the system, and eventually all the copies of the data will be consistent. So when we have eventual consistency, data are not guaranteed to be consistent across all copies of data immediately after an update, but after some time it will be consistent when update will be propagated through out overall the system. So this diagram give you overview or summary of all the evolution of data model, starting from hierarchical to network to relational to ER to object oriented, and then big data or NoSQL. Okay, so we can go through it, and here again we have a summary in text form. Or as a conclusion, what are the common characteristics that we have seen in all the database is that we want simplicity in conceptual level with complete meaning or semantic, that it represent, it should be easy to understand and give us complete meaning. It should be as close to the real world as possible, and a real world transformation must comply with consistency and integrity characteristic. Like we don't want to go into inconsistent state. Whenever a new data model is evolved from the previous one, it removes the shortcomings of the previous model and adds some more feature. So some model better suited, and there are some model which are more suitable for some particular task. This slide give you some of the basic terminology comparison that is being used in different type of data models. Okay, before going to explain what is the data abstraction, I will give you an example of car design. So first, to design a car, we need a car designer, which will begin by drawing the concept of car to be produced. On paper, it will just a drawing of the car that he wants to produce. Next, he will give this design to engineers. So engineer will then design the details that help transfer this basic concept into a structure that can be produced. and finally the engineering drawings are translated into the product specification that is going to be used on factory floor. So you can see that the process of producing the car begin at a high level of abstraction and proceed to an increasing level of detail. So factory floor process cannot produce unless engineering details are not properly satisfied, and engineering details cannot exist without the basic conceptual framework that has been designed by the designer. So same process is used when we design a database. That is, a database designer start with a very abstract view that just represents the overall data environment, and then it will add detail to the design when it comes closer to the implementation. So there is a level of abstraction that can be very helpful, and it is integrating in multiple view of data at different level of organization. So we have a data abstraction on three different model of data abstraction are available, which are external, conceptual, and internal. Okay, what is the external model? It is the end user view of the data environment. And what it means by end user are those people who will use the application program to interact with your database, and then will manipulate and generate information. Like you have created a database where data entry operator has to enter data into it. So those data entry operator are your end user, which are using a application program interface to enter information. Like in a hospital, somebody is sitting on the reception and he is entering the appointment details of different patients with different doctor using our interface. So who is he? He will be an end user. So in external model, because the data is going to be model, so which data model is used? ER diagram will be used to represent the external view, and a specific representation of an external view is also called external schema. Okay, so what is external schema? It is a specific representation of an external view which represent entities, the relationship, processes, and constraints within an organization. Okay, here we show different level of data abstraction levels. Like end user, they view external model, then designers view conceptual model, then we have DBMS view, which is internal model, and in the last level we have a physical model. It is like a hierarchical like structure. So on the top of hierarchy we have conceptual model. Okay, then comes a conceptual model, which show the global view of complete database by the overall in organization. So we can say that the conceptual model integrate or combine all external views like entities, relationship, constraint, and processes. So in order to show the conceptual model, the tool that is used is ER model, and we use ER diagram to represent conceptual schema. You all are familiar with now ER diagram. Like here, this is the conceptual model of for a college name, Tiny College. Okay, and you are familiar that we have entities, student, enroll, professor, class, room, course, and then they have a relationship with each other, and type of relationships like here one to many, one to many, one to many, one to many, and one to many. All relationships are of one to many type. Okay, now what are the advantage of conceptual model? First of all, it provides some bird eye view of the data, okay, on macro level, like bird's eye when it is looking at something below, so it gives us overall view of the data, which is easy to understand. Like here you can get a summary of this college data environment by looking at this diagram. And second advantage is that conceptual model is independent of both software and hardware. What it means by software independence? It means that model does not depend on any particular DBMS software to use to implement it. You can use any of the DBMS software to implement it. Okay, and hardware independence means that the model does not depend on the hardware that is used in the implementation of the model. Therefore, if you are making changes in the hardware or the DBMS software, it will have no effect on the design at all. Okay, design is at the conceptual level. You can use any hardware or any software to implement it. So that's why we sometimes use a term, it provides us logical design. Okay, or logical design refer to the task of creating conceptual data model that can be implemented in any DBMS. After you have finalized the conceptual model, then the next step is to choose the specific DBMS to implement it. So once a specific DBMS has been selected, then internal model is used to map the conceptual model to the DBMS. Okay, so the internal model is what? It is the representation of database as it is seen by the database management system. So we can say that internal model needs the designer to match the conceptual model characteristics and constraint to that of the selected implementation model. So it provides a more specific representation. For internal model we use internal schema. Now what is the internal schema? Internal schema represent a specific representation of internal model, which is using the database constructs supported by the chosen database. So as I told you that for internal model we need to choose a specific database management system, so it depends on a software. So if we are going to change in DBMS software, it need to change the internal model. Like external model is independent of hardware and software, but internal model depends on software. Okay, it has logical independence. Logical independence means that we can change internal model without making any effect on conceptual model. Okay, here we have an example of internal model. Like we have this ER diagram, which is a conceptual model, and when we map it into internal model, here we write specific queries in SQL. Like this is a professor entity, it will map into a professor table. So we create table professor in a specific way, like we choose SQL database, MySQL database to implement it internal model. So we are writing this query to create this table, and so on. Okay, then come physical model, which work at the lowest level of abstraction, and it describes the way data is saved on storage media like disks or tapes. So physical model require information of both the physical storage device and the access method that is required to reach the data within those storage. So it is depending on both software as well as hardware. So physical model depend on both hardware as well as software. The storage structure that used are dependent on the software, like the DBMS and operating system, and which type of storage device the computer can handle, like a hard disk, USB, CD-ROM, DVD, what kind of storage devices the computer can handle, and it requires that database designer have a complete knowledge of hardware and software that he will use to implement the database design. Physical model provide physical independence. It means that change in physical model will have no effect on internal model. So here we have a summary of the level of data abstraction. Like we have different models, external, conceptual, internal and physical. Starting, if we look at the degree of abstraction, external model have very high degree of abstraction, and when we go down this become low, and physical level is on the lowest level of degree of abstraction. Okay, the main focus of external model, it only focus on end user view, conceptual model for global view, then internal model for specific database model, and then physical model depend on or look for the storage and access method that are used. If we look with respect to independence, external model is hardware and software independent, conceptual is hardware and software independent, internal depends on software, so it is hardware independent, and physical depends on both hardware and software, so it is not independent of either hardware nor not software. So here we finish our chapter. This is the summary. Okay, thank you.